Do you have clarity? Do you know what it means to get clear? I had someone come like, what do you mean I'm not clear? Leaders get critiqued on their communication style all the time. Why? Because communicating well is actually in your job description. If you are a manager, a leader, emerging leader, especially as an executive, those who have to either communicate the vision, the project, communicating anything to anyone requires some unique clarity. In 2019, a 2020 leadership trend article was written. This was before the pandemic. Although the pandemic has just highlighted more acutely the leadership skills people want, because even in 2019, as they looked forward towards 2020, as they assessed employees, 3 out of every 4 employees felt that communicating well was critical to good leadership. And ironically, only 1 in 3 employees felt that there was good communication in their office as it pertained to them doing their job well. And it turns out that when you dive into a lot of the research on clear communication, it boils down to how we hear and how we talk and how we process. How we communicate is directly linked to how we think, and we think differently. No 2 people think alike. Gallup has now proven that they can actually find in their science that we are all uniquely and divinely made. It's brilliant to think that we are so unique, that I am set apart from other people. But we don't take the time to find out what that uniqueness means, especially when it comes to communication. So if we're communicating to fit how we think, we're by default a lot of times ignoring how other people need to hear what's being communicated. It's also an area where leaders, if they're not really clear in their internal thinking about what success looks like, where the company is going, what their team is exactly supposed to deliver to make that client happy and over the moon, then everything they're offering gets even more fuzzy. So that's one aspect of communication, is identifying and self-reflecting in the way you communicate. Is it being received the way you need it to be? But that reception has a really interesting twist to it, because it's been found through the research of active listening that we only remember about 25 to 50% of the information we're told. Little alarm bells are starting to go off in your head. You're like, our brains fire about 200 times a second compared to our mouth that plods along about 125 words a minute. If we think faster than we're talking, and we're only listening to a point where we remember 25 to 50%, now you can see where clear communication is not always 100% in your control. But it can be more in your control if you think about it in this way. I'm going to share with you a dilemma a director brought to me recently. She came in and she was like, I have just been given feedback that I am not a great communicator. Huh. I go, okay. I knew the project she was working on. I knew her team dynamics at this point. I said, what did you want the end result to be for your team's project? I mean, were you able to describe that to anyone in full detail at the table at the last meeting? I got a blank stare back, and I said, okay. I explained that when you're able to describe so clearly exactly what the client wants to be able to do with this project, who it affects, why it matters, what that means to that company, what they're going to do with it, how they are going to use it, and to a point, and maybe you don't know all that, but let's go back to the deliverables every project team has to meet, the monthly, the quarterly, whatever it is that you've agreed to deliver, that deliverable, what is that deliverable supposed to look like, feel like, tangibly be? And if you can't describe that, then they don't know what to ask. But if you can describe it, then a lot of times your team members will step into asking really great questions about how their work can really pertain to that success of that happening. And she's like, wait, you mean I'm supposed to describe so well about what those deliverables should be that they'll know what and how to do it? Why can't I just tell them what to do if they don't? You can. But has that worked for you consistently? And you could kind of see where I'd hit the nail on the head. She's like, no. I recently was called a micromanager. Ouch. Nobody likes that one. Ugh. I said, do you know, with clarity, exactly what the client wants? And she's like, I now that you're talking about it, no, I don't. I really don't. I need to go back to the client and ask those questions. And I said, when you do, it really allows you and your company to show up with authentic interest into how this project's going to pertain to their success. And if they can't describe it to you, then you'll know exactly what other questions to ask to get a better feel of what they're going to do with it, what they want it to do. You get the picture. And she's like, yeah, I get the picture. There are those moments when I go, clarity, that elusive concept that challenges people at every step of the way, because we hear differently, we think differently, we communicate differently. If you were to look up why clarity matters, you will find that it helps people describe their values, that find purpose in what they do. Pretty much anything on the other side of an equal sign, like clarity equals, ta-da! And you're like, wait, come on, it can't be that simple. I'm like, well, it is and it isn't. Yes and no. Yes, because only you can describe the clarity that you see for yourself, that dream you want, and what will happen when we meet that dream, what's next. Only you can describe for yourself your goals. And no, because a lot of us haven't taken the time to put in the thinking that's required to go, what are my goals? It's easier at work when someone tells you what the goals are to allow you to creatively meet that. But it's interesting because when I ask people for their own clarity, if they haven't taken the time, even they don't know it. And that's, I think, the key to realizing that it's a journey. Clarity provides the how, what, and why to your who for all your success at anything. And yet it takes some self-exploration, sometimes a self-assessment, sometimes an analysis of your strengths, what you're good at, what you're going to like. We all get stuck finding our way to our own clarity. And this is the beauty of knowing who you need to have in your life. It's been recommended that you have 3 people in your life: a mentor, someone who's in the same industry, has walked the same walk, gotten their success, and they're able to turn around and challenge you to evaluate every step of your own journey to make sure you're on the right one, like they were. Some mentors have a hidden agenda for you to be their darling. Other people really sincerely want you to be happy, and they're just in the same industry. Pick who works for you. The second is a cheerleader. It could be a coworker, peer, friend, spouse, family member, the people who cheer you on your way to your goals. You just have to tell them your goals first, and don't be shy. Get clear about your goals, because when they hear them, when they hear yours, they understand how to cheer you on, like realistically cheer you on, and sympathize with you when you have the challenges. And here's where a coach becomes uniquely vital. Coaching is a partnership to get you there and to be there to help you handle the tough stuff, the challenges that come up, the behaviors that get in the way, how you get in your way. And a coach doesn't have a hidden agenda. The only agenda is you reaching your goal, and the goal is yours to pick. So don't hesitate to step into a conversation with a coach to find out how they work with their clients, who their best clients are, because every coach has a niche. Every coach has a different experience, a different past, different way of dealing it. I've been honored to work with some amazing executives and emerging leaders, so don't hesitate to reach out and just explore how I've done it too. I really look forward to hearing how clarity has worked in your life, because clarity brings you what you want in your life. This is Carol Stizza, Relevant Insight Coaching. I don't have to be relevant for everybody, just to be relevant for you. And my job is to help you get clear, get recognized for the value you bring, and get paid for what that value is worth. Till next time.